Howdy folks, it's Alternal. Welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator, and yes, part 4 of the Transcontinental speed run in the Ryan NYP Spirit of St. Louis, Charles Lindbergh mission. Those of you who've seen the part 3 knew that I flew until I ran out of time. We got to Phoenix. I restarted the sim a day or two later, whatever. And I started this over because of the whole waypoint thing. The first waypoint is almost 6 hours out, so I have to fly for these 6 hours. I told you in that video I wasn't going to start part 4 until we got back to Phoenix, so we don't refly things. But as I refly this section, there's so many weird things and different things going on that I want to talk about it because it's kind of interesting, perhaps. First of all, we're cruising at 10,000 feet and the plane wants to go higher. I don't want to go much higher than 10,000 feet if I don't have to, but it's really bizarre because in the previous 2 attempts, this is my 3rd or 4th time trying this. I think this is my 3rd time trying this. The first 2 times I couldn't get to 10,000 feet to save my soul. I mean, I eventually got there, but it took me like 3 hours to get that high, blah, blah, blah. And now I'm having a hard time not going higher than 10,000 feet. This plane wants to keep climbing and I don't want to go any higher. Secondly, I don't know if this mission is using real world weather or not, because the weather is different again. When we left San Diego, it was solid clouds. I could barely see anything. And when I got up to 10,000 feet in the clouds, there's no icing this time. And if you look, it's clear now, obviously, but look at the crosswind. Look at that crosswind. We're supposed to be flying at 56 degrees. That's our track. Our heading is between 30 and 40 depending on what the wind does, and we're still getting blown south of where we're supposed to be. So it is insane crosswind. I feel like we're barely moving. At one point I think we were literally like stop still and we're just fighting the wind. It was insanity, and that hasn't been that case in the other 2 attempts I started. So if it's using real world weather and it's supposed to, that's great. But I'll talk about why that's actually not great also in a minute. If it's not supposed to use real world weather, then it has to be a bug. But I'm sure it's using real world weather. I didn't look it up in real life to see what's really going on. But we've never had this crosswind in the previous 2 attempts. And we've been solid clouds in the previous 2 attempts and full of ice at this altitude. So I don't know what's going on. Man, we're climbing up 10,200 still. I don't know. When I flew this before, they were having snow and ice in the south of the United States, all the way from, well, this entire trip, including Phoenix. So maybe that's why we were icing up, and we're really not supposed to have to worry about that when we do this trip. But the reason why this is my 3rd attempt is the first 2 attempts were just so impossible. I couldn't climb an altitude, which would be explained by the weather. And I was icing up. I couldn't get above the clouds. And when I went below the clouds in Phoenix, the clouds went to the ground and we iced up anyway. So it has to be something weird with the weather. So it's either a bug and it's not supposed to do that because the last 2 attempts were not possible to fly this thing. Or it's not a bug and you just have to wait for a good weather day. And if you have to wait for a good weather day in real life, who's going to have 6 hour minimum to fly each section? 6 hours for the first, 6 hours for the second, 4 hours for the third. Who's going to have that time to coordinate that time in chunks with weather that works? That's not really reasonable or possible. I guess maybe if we hung this up and flew it in the middle of the summer in 4 months, but who wants to wait till a certain time of year? I already have to do that for Forza Horizon for the accolades. I don't want to have to do that for Flight Sim 2. But anyway, that's why I wanted to jump in early, because this is ridiculous. I'm like, we're barely moving and we're climbing very easily, and I don't actually want to climb, so I'm trimming down, which will give us speed, which is great, but it keeps wanting to push us up. No clouds, which is fantastic, because that's been our big hang up with the clouds and icing. So if there aren't going to be clouds, then this is going to be great, because the sun will be setting about an hour. But yeah, so yeah, so you want to know where I am? There's the Colorado River, so I just crossed into New Mexico or Arizona? I can't remember where we are. Arizona. And yeah, so the other thing is I'm going to stay on track that they want us to stay on this time. So instead of flying south and all that jazz, I'm actually going to stay on track. So we're just a tad south. I think we're supposed to be over this road. So I think we're, what, 3/4 of a mile or a mile south of where we're supposed to be, which is like right here. So I'm going to stay on track. It was really easy up here because of water and airports, but it's going to get kind of hairy, so I'm going to look for mountain peaks. And like we're going to stay just left or just right of this one, and then look for an airport right here before that. And then that'll be roughly where we left off in the previous video. So we'll see. I've been flying for 2 hours, and I'm not as far as I was last time I flew for 2 hours, so we'll see. My plan for this attempt is, even if I get to the waypoint, I'm going to keep the sim running. I'm hoping to keep the sim running probably for a week or more to get these sections done. So by the time you watch this, if I failed, I spliced it into another video probably. If I didn't fail, I may have flown this a month ago. I don't know. It just depends. So anyway, looked like the weather changed a little bit because all of a sudden we started darting to the left. I'm trying to get over this highway, and then I'm going to keep that to my left, look for an airport there. So basically I'm just looking at this map rather frequently, and I'm trying to use these airports as a guide. Like I said, that was an easy one. This one will be off to a right a little bit, but at this altitude, I mean, it could be like, you know, right here, and we could be there. So it's not going to be that far away. It's really easy to see. I'm going to, I don't know if that mountain peak is this one yet. I don't see any other peak. Well, there's this here, but I think this ridge here is this ridge here, I think. So keep that to our left. And then it's going to be dark here, which will be okay if there aren't any clouds, and we can just spot that water. We won't be able to see that one because of the hill, the mountain, but we should be able to spot that water if there aren't clouds, and then we'll just aim for some airports. And then I need to get, I'll show you where I must get before the sim quits. I must get to the first waypoint, which is not marked on here. It just says 70 nautical miles northwest, or 70 miles northwest of Albuquerque. Here's Albuquerque, obviously. So 70 miles northwest is probably here. But just to be safe, I want to try to get to at least these mountains before I even attempt to stop the sim. And if I don't make it here and I don't get to this waypoint and I have to start over, I'm not doing this again. I'm sorry. It's just my real life. I have far more important priorities than to try this for a 4th time. But if I do get here, probably here, but I'm going to try to get here to be safe, and it saves, then I can continue sometime in the future, right? And then the last thing that's on my mind is landing this thing, because it's a 4-hour, well, 3.65, which for me will be over 4 hours from the waypoint to the airport. So if I crash, I'm going to have to refly the last 4 hours before I can get back to the airport. So that's the other thing on my mind. I do know that I've had 2 successful landings in this thing from the outside. So if I have to, well, I'm going to for sure land from the outside, but and those runways are really long too, so I can just come down, whatever. But if I crash in St. Louis, I cannot guarantee I'm going to do this for a 4th time. So anyway, I'm going to fly for a while. I'm not going to talk again until we get to this mountain, if this is the mountain I think it is, because that means Phoenix will be over here. And that's where we left off in the previous video. So there's your 9-minute recap. I just want to talk about the weather, because it's really ridiculous weather right now. Even though there aren't any clouds and icing at the moment, it's still ridiculous weather. And I wanted to talk about how we're staying on their trajectory, their path, even though those mountains coming up look freaking scary. So maybe I will let us climb after all. I don't know. We'll see. We're up to 10,300, so why not? Anyway, I want to talk about those 2 things. So there you go, and I will see you when we get to roughly the area we left off in the previous video. See you in a little bit. Well, we're not in Phoenix yet, but it's getting dark, and all of a sudden these clouds just popped in, and they're starting to grow, and it's over the mountains. I was really looking forward to doing this first mountain pass without clouds, because we have 2 mountain passes, I believe, right? We have a mountain pass here, And then we have a second mountain pass here. Some nasty ones. And then it's plains all the way to the Appalachians at our final destination in the next leg. So I'm kind of bummed about this. I mean, we know from the last attempt that the clouds go all the way down to the mountains. We have to go over them or through them, and then through them might mean icing. So we'll see what we can do. I'm nervous about this because I want this to work. If you're wondering where we are, we didn't get very far from my last edit in the video. There's this thing here, right here. We got blown way south. So now we cross this, now we're kind of just riding like this, and I plan to meet up with this before we get to the mountain. So there's a valley here. You could see it before. It's stuck out like a sore thumb, but now all the stuff rendered in, you could make it out. But I was aiming right for this spot, which now I can't see it anymore, but probably because of the clouds. And then this mountain pass will be middle of the night, and the Phoenix is just below. So I don't know. We'll see. That's my little quick update. I'm literally scratching my head trying to figure out how we're going to get through this with the clouds. I guess I'm going to climb more and try to get above them. So stay tuned. Be on the edge of your seat, because I know I am. Who knew Flight Sim could be so exciting? Alright, making forward progress here. There is Phoenix. The big city lights lit up in the night sky, or on the ground. It's not in the sky, but you get the idea. And we're crossing this ridge that you can't really see depending on the device you are looking at. Maybe we can see it like this. There's this crazy ridge here, and then it drops into a really steep valley. Now I'm confused about altitude and elevation because I'm at 10,500 feet, but when I checked altitude or elevation in Google, it's only supposed to be like 7,800 at the highest of all highest points, and I'm barely making it. I'm way closer to the terrain than I would like to be, so I'm not exactly sure what's going on there. But anyway, the highway you see in front of us going from left to right is US 17, obviously, but I'm trying to figure out where on US 17 we actually are, because we need to cross over this valley and find US 87. I think maybe it's state 87. US 87, state 87. I can't tell, my Google map is zoomed out too far, but anyway, we need to look for that to cross the mountain passage. That being said, it looks like there's a road in front of us we can use, but that can't be 87 because 87 doesn't connect to 17 directly where we are. So I don't know what's going on. I don't exactly know where we are along the I-17 corridor. Been trying to figure it out using Google Maps. I thought it'd be easier at night because it's lit up, but it's not easier at all. So I'm just going to keep this heading. We're at, again, 36 degrees for a heading, but we're tracking like 60 something. That's how crazy the crosswind is. So I'm trying to figure out exactly where we are. We can use the map. It'll put us in the middle, and we're right on the track we want to be on. Maybe we're a tad south, but we're pretty darn close. So I guess if we stay this heading and the wind blows us, it'll blow us along our track. But what I'm looking for here is 87. If I'm looking at my Google Maps, yeah, 87 literally goes right through here, right under the path they want us to take, which is why I'm looking for 87. And again, you see this coming through here, which looks like it's it. But 87 doesn't come this way, so that's not 87? I don't know. I really don't know. I just know that this looks nice and safe. From what I can tell, it's so hard to see this because I have a whole bunch of other monitors on my right side, so I'm actually shielding my face with my hand so I can see my dark monitor in front of me that you're watching. So anyway, that's my wordy update. Again, Phoenix metropolitan area there. You can see the fog and stuff and the haze where we iced up before. We have not run into any clouds other than the beginning of this attempt, which I did not record because I didn't want to be redundant. So hopefully it stays that way. Hopefully we don't get any clouds the rest of the trip. I'm thinking, I don't know what I'm thinking. I can see either the clouds are forcing us to stay on path or it's using road weather. I don't really know what's going on, to be honest, with the weather. So anyway, we're going to follow this road, I guess, for a little bit, even though on Google Maps there's not a road here. I mean, where we're supposed to be on Google Maps, there's not a road. So I really don't know. But I mean, we're right on the path because it's in the center of our map. So who knows? I'm just going to aim for this water, which we may not be able to see at night. And I'm going to keep my Google Maps up. And we'll give you some sightseeing now for a little bit, and then I'll jump ahead, because if I record all of this, we're going to have a 20-part video or 20-part series, which I don't need to do. Yeah, so I'm just going to keep my thoughts to myself instead of rambling on, give you some sightseeing, and I'll see you in a little bit. Alright, joining you again. So I think I know where we are now. I believe the flashing lights there is Sedona Airport, so that's 179 intersecting with 17, US 17 that is, so we were following US 17, which I kind of thought we were, but I was hoping it was 87, but it wasn't. But if you look on the VFR map, we are exactly where they want us to be. See? Dead center. So we're doing this exactly right, so we're going to keep 70 to our left. 87 will be to our right, and I keep saying 87 because if you look at the VFR map and we let it load and we move ahead, this water, see this? 87 goes through this valley here alongside that water. So that's how I know we want 87. Even though before we were following 17 and that was correct, but now we're looking for lights to show up for 87. We are at 10,600 feet. The Google research I did says that the mountains are nowhere near 10,600 feet here. So we should be well above the terrain. Adjusting my barometer, and I've been adjusting my conditioners or my mixture. Whoops, too much on the mixture. Bring it back in. Oh boy, now we're going to lose it a little bit. Bring it back so we don't lose too much power. There we go. So I've been finessing the mixture very often. I'm shielding my my face again because I can't see this mountain ridge coming up because my other monitor is really bright with the Google Maps up. But there's another crazy ridge in there, out there somewhere. You can kind of see it right here. There's this ridge that we should be able to clear pretty easily. According to our altitude versus Google's elevation, we should be plenty high. I don't know. That runway looks like it's going the wrong way to be Sedona Airport. Whatever. I don't know. I mean, it looks like this is 179 and that's 17 going off into the distance. Right? That's what it looks like. And we're right where we're supposed to be on the map. So we're just going to stay like this. The mountains do get higher though. So if I don't cross in the right spot, like if I cross up here, for example, it's going to be too high for us. So I really got to pay attention to what I'm doing. Even though I can barely see anything. But we're going to roll with it. There's the sunset, and then Phoenix metropolitan area is still there. So not much progress since my last rambling, but I just want to tell you what's going on because that's the point of this, is telling you what's going on. So I'm going to try to fly in the dark. I can't see a dang thing on my monitor, and I'm going to try to get us over this little mountainous range, and then we'll be on our way to Albuquerque, and it should be pretty flat for a while. Ooh, we're picking up a lot of train turbulence, aren't we? Oh my gosh, I want to give you some sightseeing views as I navigate this, but I don't know I'm going to set anything up, plus it's so dark anyway. Oh my goodness, wish me luck. I'll see you, I don't know when I'll see you, very soon probably. So I think I may have found 87 if I lean up against my monitor and squint. I think this road here could be 87. I mean, I could be very wrong because 71 is only right there, but we are up 10,400 feet. So these roads would look pretty close together from this altitude, even though they're not on the map that close together. Regardless, I'm going to fly over to this road and try to fly along it, because I know that's going to be below the peak in terms of elevation. So as long as I stay over that road, then no matter what the elevation is around us, I should be good. Yeah, that's my plan. I wish I could set up some sightseeing shots, but I really have to focus on what I'm doing. But I don't want to make, this a 12-hour video, so I'm just going to have to navigate and give you highlights along the way here. Alright, I put dark clothing over all my other monitors. I got 7 monitors in my office for various things. In my YouTube studio, and I put dark clothing over it all, and I still can't see what's going on. But I feel like we're running into... Let's see, sorry if my voice gets faded. I'm leaning into my monitor. I'm looking at this area right here under the wing. It looks like terrain that's creeping up on us. Well, like I said, when I checked Google, the elevation in this area is nowhere near us. I don't know why it looks like we're going to run into it. I'm doing the best I can. Hopefully you can hear me. I'm leaning into my monitor, squinting, looking into my monitor, trying to see what we're looking at here. Man, this is really difficult. I mean, if you look at the dead center of our VFR map, it's right there. So we're exactly where we need to be. So this is what we're supposed to be doing. I just can't see anything. So let's stay over these dots, because that's the highway. And I don't even know if this is the high stuff yet. Like, I mean... Yeah, this is what we're looking at in front of us. So even though it looks like we're over it now, it's actually quite a ways ahead of us. But then it gets even higher up here after Albuquerque. So, I don't know. We're at 10,500. I don't really think we need to climb any higher, do we? I'm such a cheater. You can change the time of day in this mission. Why? Why do they let you do that? Oh, I'm such a cheater. I'm such a cheater. So, I just wanted to check our... Look at this. We are way higher than elevation. Just like we're supposed to be. What is this valley? What is that? Maybe that's our 87. If I look at Google Maps. That looks like our 87. Okay, I feel like such a cheat. But you know what? I don't care, because I'm putting so much effort and work into this trip. No, here's 87 right here. See? Okay, so despite... Yeah, because there's the turn, the little kink in it. That's on my Google map. Okay, so this is 87. So despite me making it daylight, which I can't believe they let me do, despite that, I'm exactly where I was supposed to be. So I am going to give myself credit for that. I did cheat to double check. But yeah, we're exactly where I thought it was this whole time. Isn't that cool? I'm gonna look on Google Maps and see what this Valley Gorge thing is. What is that thing? There's a lot of gorges on Google Maps, so never mind. Okay, so we're exactly where we want to be. We did everything right, except turned it to daylight to see what was going on. And there's this huge plateau that we're on. And there's some water up here somewhere, which could be in a gorge. You might not actually see it. And then this plateau goes forever and ever. And then it finally dies down. Where does it die down? What's this? Okay, this is back to Phoenix. I'm looking at Google Maps at the same time. Feel free to pull up Google Maps if you want to. Follow along. Yeah, we're on this enormous plateau. And then it goes up from there. So yeah, our elevation, I mean, oh my gosh, we're definitely 3,000-4,000 feet above elevation. Okay, so we're headed on to what now? Where is Albuquerque? So it's Albuquerque, and that's our first waypoint, right? 70 miles to the northwest. But I'm going to wait until we're north of Albuquerque before I trust that we're really going to say where it is. So there's 87 below us, turning and twisting and turning. I don't think we really need to be this high, but I'm going for it. I'm going to keep us up here anyway because we have even higher mountains coming up later. So, let's see. I'm looking. Actually, wait a second. Maybe that's 260. No, that's 87. Yeah, I'm confident that's 87. So that's heading to Winslow, which is quite a ways away. And then what? Winslow, and then on to Interstate 40. We want to find the next big interstate. So we want to take this the direction we're headed. When we find the next huge interstate, which is pretty easy to see at night, we're going to follow Interstate 40. But when it turns towards Albuquerque, we don't want to turn because we want to stay northwest of Albuquerque to hit our waypoint, so it'll save our progress when we get to that waypoint. And then we got some more mountains, and then what's after that? Well, eventually St. Louis, but you know, that's gonna be a couple real life days for me away because I'm gonna try to get this in running. Okay, so we're gonna cross this plateau, and then we're going to go northwest of Albuquerque, and then we're going to cross a bunch of mountains, and then it's plains all the way to the Appalachians. And I know that's low because in Minneapolis we're at like 837 feet or something above sea level, and it's plains all the way to Appalachians. I mean, it rises for the foothills, but once you get past these mountains after Albuquerque, or Santa Fe really is where the mountains are, then we're good. So let's see, do we actually go to Santa Fe? Where's Albuquerque? Albuquerque's right there. Santa Fe, okay, we're gonna be a little north of Santa Fe too. Okay, so let's see here, what can we do? Let's bring it back to nighttime. I don't know what time of night it was. It was like up here some, whoa. We saw a little bit of, what did we have? We had a little bit of sunset. Yeah, there we go. This is about where we were. Okay. We'll go like that. And then we're going to stay here over 87, which I'm confident is 87. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. And we're going to look to pick up Interstate 40. Let me get back to my map. Interstate 40. Once we pick up Interstate 40, we will follow that until it makes a sharpish curve to the southeast, and then we'll break off and stay northwest of Albuquerque. And on the map, when we get to Albuquerque, below us, so when Albuquerque is below us, I know for sure we've passed our waypoint and we are safe to quit the sim. But that's still, I mean, I'm not going to get there in this real life day. I'm going to have to keep the sim running overnight. Oofda. I'm going to keep our altitude because I said in Santa Fe we got even more mountains. So I'm going to try to set up some sightseeing for you best as I can. And then I guess I'll try not to talk until we pick up I-40 and discuss our path around Albuquerque, but we'll see what happens. I never know what's going to happen until it does, so I'll see you in a little bit. Alright, we're still exactly where we need to be, so I want to make it daytime, and not because it's cheating, but because I'm getting a really, really, really bad headache trying to squint through all this, so let's make it like sunrise. trying to squint and see what's going on in the dark with monitors around me, and I even turned off all the lights in my studio and everything, and it's like the squinting is so bad. I have a really bad headache, and that is not fun, right? So I force myself to get a headache just to stay with the time. Oh, it's snow. That's what's going on. I'm like, this whole time I'm like, why does it look so weird over there? And it's not like a dipping down or anything. It's because it's snowy there. Remember, you get snow data based on real life. So this tells me this is using real life weather, I think. So we're lucky that there aren't any clouds, I think. I don't know. But anyway, there's a water we've been looking for with 87 going around it. So wherever 87 is, if you see the road below us, that's 87. I don't see the road below us. There's a road down there, and it's 87. So I've proven that I can do this in the dark. But there's no need to hurt my eyes and give myself a horrible headache. It's ridiculous. So, in fact, when I was telling my wife about this trip and trying to find time to do these like 6-hour legs, she's like, so why do your hobbies torture you? I'm like, if I'm in the mood, I don't mind. And it's true, I don't mind doing this right now. But squinting in the dark was torture, and I do not need to get a headache from my hobbies. That's ridiculous. So morning it is, late morning it's going to be. So that puts us, I don't know, wherever these water things are. So Albuquerque still many hours away from me, so I'll try to set up sightseeing for you. Otherwise, I'll see you when we meet up with, was it I-40? I closed my map. What is it? I-40. So hopefully I can get to I-40 without talking, but you never know. See you in a little bit. Alright, we're about to pick up I-40. It's this highway north of the river here, and if we hop outside you can see the sun is up quite a ways now. And the clouds will change a little bit, so it's quite some time later from the last little edit. And like usual, I don't know how long this video is right now after all my edits. Maybe it's only 15 minutes, maybe it's 45, no idea. But there's Winslow right above the airplane there, so 87 went to Winslow. We cut the corner a little bit because we could, and we're down to 10,100 feet because I checked the next mountain rangey type thing coming up around Santa Fe. The highest elevation I could find was 7,800 feet, so we're 2,300 above the highest point there, so we are good as long as we're more than 1,000 above terrain. And we're flying straight, so weather changed a little bit because look at, we're straight as an arrow. A little bit to the left, a little bit of wind from the left, not much, so good. I was freaking out there, but now I can relax. Okay, so there's I-40. We're going to swing over to I-40. We're going to cut the corner a little bit. I-40 dips down before it curves north towards Albuquerque. So we're going to cut the corner here, and then when I-40 goes south into Albuquerque, we're going to stay to the north and head towards Santa Fe. And then on the map, when we are north of Albuquerque, we know we have passed waypoint 1, which means we can relax, because anything that happens after that will bring us back to this area here and not at the beginning. So anyway, see these mountains here? I checked the highest point I could find in any of this was 7,800 feet. So hopefully, where are you? Where's Santa Fe? There it is. So hopefully we'll clear just fine. I think the highest point, 7,800, was right here. So we'll be good. So my goal for this video, if I can, is to get us to Albuquerque, Albuquerque, New Mexico. It'll be a good spot for me to end, because then if the sim quits when I leave it running, I know it'll come back to here, and then it's a good spot in the video. So we are beyond Phoenix now, you know, quite a ways beyond Phoenix, because we are past Winslow as well. Let's stay on track here, and then so this river, come on, zoom in, here we go. This river, I-40 goes along the river. See, that's what we're looking at right below us, so we're a little bit south of the track. We're going to cut the corner. I-40 comes up here and comes around. And then when I-40, let's see, keep track where we're going here. When I-40 comes down here, this is where we're going to stay north. And then, oh, come on. Something's making me gust around here. And then when we get to this mountain range, we'll know we'll be safe to stop if we need to. So, a little bit of sightseeing. Now that the wind is a little bit calmer, I should be able to do some more sightseeing like I normally do and enjoy the sights. And I'll see you. Let's see if I can not talk until Albuquerque. I'll do my best. Enjoy the view along the way. It'll only take a minute or two for you to get there. Take like 8 days for me. Okay, I'm talking before we get to Albuquerque, but that's because remember the mountains I've been worried about for the past 5.5 hours, I guess? Here they are. There we go, that's it. They're so far below us. Like, look at the little houses and stuff, so nothing to worry about there. I should know better. I've been doing this for a long time. I should know that we are 3,000 feet above these, so no problem. Now there is another set of higher mountains still, but they're not much higher than these. They're only like not even 1,000 feet higher than these, and those are the ones just after Albuquerque by Santa Fe. So I-70, 40, what is it, 40 is coming up here. It's going to make a curve to the left, and then right around here is Albuquerque. Well, there's Albuquerque. We're going to stay up here. We will know when we reach our waypoint, because see how this is pointing at 41 degrees? The green thing? I assume that's going to switch over to 64, 69, what is it? Where's my navlog? There it is. 64. So when this changes to 64, we know we will have passed our waypoint, and we will know that it's safe to stop the sim, in theory anyway. And it'll be safe for me to not worry. So anyway, I just wanted to point out that the mountains, I was worried about the first set are below us and they're nothing. You can see the second set starting to render and appear. We are so close to our first waypoint. I can taste it. The only caveat would be I might not make it before I have to be done for my real life day. And that would mean that I have to let the sim sit and hopefully it doesn't crash or something when I let it sit for, I don't know, because it's a weekend day. So maybe later tonight, so a couple hours from now, once everyone's in bed, we'll see. But otherwise, I thought I'd jump in with some scenery here because it was flat for a long time. And now we're back in the mountains, which were the mountains I was worried about this entire time since we took off in San Diego. And obviously it's not a problem. We're way, way, way higher than we need to be, so I've actually been slowly trimming down to get a little bit more speed out of it. However, we're climbing anyway, so I really don't understand what that's all about. Whatever. We're just going to settle into whatever we settle in at. So I-40 is underneath us. Eventually it's going to turn to the south, and we will enter the Albuquerque area, which is over there, but we're going to go north of it. And then when this switches from 54 degrees to 64 degrees, 56 degrees to 64 degrees, then we know we've reached our waypoint. I really hope I can get to it this afternoon before I have to make dinner and tend to my children and do some family things. 'Cause I've been doing this a lot today while my kids did stuff with their friends and blah, 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 blah. So I'm hoping I can get to this waypoint before I have to let the sim sit. I'm not excited about letting it sit, but that's how I'm going to do it. Otherwise, yeah, I'm entering, well, not really the Albuquerque area. I mean, it's still an hour away probably by flight at this speed, but still, I mean, considering we started in San Diego, it feels like we're entering the Albuquerque area. So I'm giving you some sightseeing now so I can just fly to the waypoint and not have to stress out about setting up the perfect sightseeing shots and all that stuff. So we're just looking together here as we had a significant terrain change. Let's see how we are on the map, if we're still where we're supposed to be, if we drifted a little bit. Yeah, I figured we drifted to the north. I was following the highway because it was really pretty, because the highway, remember, goes up here and then it'll come down, and then Albuquerque's down here, right? So I was following the highway, which put us north. So I'm going to let us drift to the south a little bit. And as soon as that waypoint thing, as soon as our VOR thing, which I assume will change to 64 degrees. Maybe not. Maybe it's going to lock on 54, 56 the whole time because that's what it started. This might not actually change. I hope it does. Regardless, when we get to the next set of high hills, which you can see right up here, will be above Santa Fe, and I'll know that will be safe to quit the sim. So I'm going to fly through this, probably not giving any sightseeing, just because we're like here right now, and then prepare for what you're doing, Santa Fe's next. I'm just going to fly through this. It'll be a quick cut for you like usual, but it'll be another hour and a half or so for me. Maybe even a different day, who knows, but stay tuned for the quick edit, and we'll magically be 70 miles northwest of Albuquerque, just as the navlog says. See you in a second. Alright, if this is going to change to the next waypoint, which it may or may not, this might just be indicating our starting heading. If it's going to change, it should be any minute now. We should be reaching waypoint 1 any minute now. And then we can relax and not worry about what happens in the next section, because it would bring us back to around here. Elevation or altitude, I don't know what altitude it would give us, because when I was doing the transatlantic trip, and we would restart the sim. The elevation would be all over the place, but I don't know what it would tell us. So hopefully, if we end up restarting the sim in the future, our elevation isn't in the side of the mountain. Anywho, if you want to know where Albuquerque is, this plateau that we're on ends around here, and then there's another huge plateau, and then Albuquerque is on the other side of that mountainous area there. So we're heading here to this gigantic plateau, which does rise much higher than I thought. The Antonio Mountain, what do they call it? San Antonio Mountain? San Antonio Mountain, the highest peak that I could find there. Well, Redondo Peak too, 11,000 feet. So 10,900 feet, something like that. That's what I found on Google. So we will either keep climbing or we'll go around the terrain. But it does get pretty high up there. You can see it's starting to come in. So I actually am starting to climb a little bit, little by little, 100 or 200 feet per minute. That should get us up there, right? 10,900 feet. We're at 10,400 feet. Yeah, duh, of course. In fact, we can climb at 1 foot a minute and we'll be fine. But anywho, so I'm going to keep flying here. I'm waiting for this to change, although I think I'm just being optimistic. I don't think it's going to. But if it doesn't, to be sure that we are far enough along, I want to try to fly to this mountain up here, because that'll be Santa Fe. Santa Fe will be just beyond it. Between this mountain thing, then there's a huge valley with Santa Fe, then another mountain thing. In fact, you can see it poking up right there. So basically, we're going to fly across through here. Santa Fe's down there in the middle. And when we get to Santa Fe, we know we will be beyond waypoint 1, absolutely for sure. And then I can relax a little bit, but then we got another 6 hours to waypoint 2. And hopefully nothing happens in between there, so I don't have to redo stuff. But actually it's a little bit longer. It's 1 minute longer than the first waypoint. But anyway, there we go. That's your update. I know for you it's like a second goes by, then I talk, then a second goes by and I talk. But you gotta remember, for me, this is hours in between talking, right? Every time I jump in to talk, it's been a couple hours for me, so I'm getting lonely. So that's why I do it. But anyway, I'm gonna keep flying. I'm either gonna see you when this changes, if I'm being realistic and not hopelessly optimistic, or I'll see you when we get closer to the mountains here. A couple of them up there, you can see them rendering in every second, better and better. Yikes. Our little VOR thing has not changed. However, I did just see the save icon pop up for the very first time since we took off. So that tells me we just passed our waypoint. We can be safe. If the sim crashes, it'll bring us back to this area. Don't know what altitude it'll give us, but I really don't care about that right now. Things to note, so Albuquerque then is behind this gigantic plateau. That's your greater Albuquerque area. Santa Fe is right in the valley behind these mountains, which I did some research, and these are the Jemez Mountains, they call them. This is, I forgot what it's called, Redondo, Mount Redondo. I practiced this and I screwed it all up. Redondo Peak, 11,200 feet, I think. And then the other mountains I mentioned are all over here. So we're aiming to go right through here between the mountains. I'm guessing when we get here, this is going to be so insanely beautiful looking down on Santa Fe, because we're not going to go over these mountain peaks. We're going to go among them. So that's going to be amazing. I can finally relax about the sim quitting. I am going to try to keep it running overnight. In real life, we'll see what happens. I might not get to this for a couple days. You're watching this far into the future after I've flown it and edited it, but so we're about to wrap up this video. I want to see if I can get to the base of the plateau in the mountains. So not this one right here, but this farther one. Just because I have a little bit more time, I want to get a little bit further. I really want to solidify that we passed our waypoint. So we're going to fly a little bit more. It'll be a quick cut for you, but then I'll come back with an outro, and we'll continue in the 5th video in what is going to probably be the best scenery so far of the trip. But bear with me for another minute or two here, and we'll wrap this thing up. Alrighty, there's Redondo Peak in front of us, and San Antonio Mountain to the left. We're going to go right between these two here. This is 10,900, this is 11,200, and then Santa Fe is right on the other side of this mass here. So my plan is to keep the sim running and not let it stop. But if it does crash or something overnight or in the next couple days until I get back to it, we will start somewhere back here, so not that much of a loss. The caveat would be what altitude would it put us at, because if it puts us any lower than this, we'll have to spiral to get back up here. But I'm hoping that the sim will stay running and that I can just take off from here, resume from here. So this will end our video now. If you made it this far, I assume you're already subscribed, but if not, please subscribe so that you know when part 5 goes live. We're going to start right here on the edge of this plateau, and then like this video so other people know that it exists. If you're wondering where we are, the Rockies extend down to here, and then these are the Jemez Mountains. So the very southern tip of what you would think is the Rockies as a whole. That's where we are in the world. And I'm nervous and excited to get over this. There's going to be quite a bit of crazy stuff here, and then it's going to be flat plains all the way to the Appalachians. But join us. It's going to be an interesting start to the next video, so hopefully we'll see you then.